Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakat. Welcome to another exciting episode of Iftar and Chill, where we talk about everything Ramadan. My name is Zohra Mula, and joining me today is Khadija. And for the first time, we have a male co-host, Uzal Leshaw.
Assalamu alaikum.
So today we will be discussing on something that maybe some of us have noticed or we have noticed. We have had gated communities, which is something that wasn't there in the previous time, where everyone is trying to just look out for themselves. We are talking about individualism. What does it mean? Do we have some good parts or bad parts? Uzal, what do you think about individualism? And even before you tell us what do you think about it, what do you understand by individualism?
Assalamu alaikum. So what I understand with individualism is whereby someone is living out his life like as an individual, as a standalone person, without associating maybe a lot with other people.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to associate in some level, but this is mostly in the social level.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're away from your family, you're not living with your family, extended family, you're not married probably.
You're just a bachelor.
Yeah, you're just alone. You're just pursuing your life alone without any close relative or associates or partners. So I understand individualism as that.
Okay. Khadija?
I think my understanding of individualism as well is also somehow linked to what Uzal is saying, in that there's more of personal achievement, more of your personal ambitions and goals without having to involve a lot of people. Like you're just there thriving in your own path without having to have other entities or other individuals in your life or in that path for you to actually reach your goals. That's my understanding. Or just in general, you doing your own thing. Yeah.
No, being the you, taking care of you, wanasema self-care and all this, you.
It's all about you,
yes.
Yes.
All this. What do we think could have led to the rise of this?
I think what led to the rise of individualism, it's like we have adopted a Western way of doing things. It's like almost it's a Western ideology, because in Africa we have very social communities.
Yeah.
In Africa, like for example in my village, everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
And when you try to bring your Nairobi life into the village,
you can fit.
Yeah. Because huko kila mtu anajua kila mtu anatembeleana. Someone can just show up and announce
anytime. Yeah.
And it's allowed because that's the social norm. Hakuna individualism huko.
But sahizi Uzal, if I want to pay you a visit, I need to check with you
that's
first.
That's the problem with the town, kwa sababu no, but that's the urban setting, kwa sababu maybe kitu to that aspect ni security wise, maybe mtu hawezi kuwa anabisha mlango yako just randomly. But huko unakuta hakuna that sense of insecurity ama nini. So I think ina thrive kwa sababu, but that's just beside the point, because hata kama insecurity, we have security bado in our towns, in our estates na nini, but I think it's just a Western lifestyle way of doing, lifestyle way of doing things. Imekuja ku affect our African culture aside from Islam. Our African cultures pia na promote such like to live as a community.
The communism.
The communism ambayo siku hizi hiyo communism imepoa jina mbaya, but it's helpful and it's very helpful the growth of the society and the community.
Yeah.
So individualism, I think it's a borrowed concept and a borrowed way of life,
that we are really not thriving on it, really riding on it. I mean, it is a good thing. It is a good thing and bad thing, and
but
we'll
the
get into that.
the good parts, the bad parts outweigh the good.
Really?
Yes.
We'll get into that. Khadija, what do you think must have contributed to this concept of individualism?
Okay, aside from the culture aspect that Uzal has pointed out, like sisi ni African culture, more of course Islamic culture as well, but also I think malezi pia imechangia, like mtoto mleavyo ndivyo akoavyo, ama once you bring up a child, you're bringing up a community, right? Like you see with this civilization coming into place, with everything involving industrialization na kila kitu, sasa unapata there is this aspect you know what, you need to get out and fend for yourself. You need to grow yourself. You need to establish yourself as a person in the society and actually see where you will get at. Unaona? But sasa kuna ile kitambo, let me grow and see how I can also grow together with my community so that we can also get to some place. But sikizu unaona, it's more of that individualism aspect. Wewe jiangalie, uko nje ni kubaya, you do you.
In a way, you will grow individually. You will grow. But now if you don't grow as a community, you will isolate yourself. Nakuta siku hizo mtu anajenga nyumba kubwa,
anajenga nyumba juu zingine.
No, unajenga nyumba kubwa, unaweka waya stima, unaweka sijui chupa, unaweka nini. Why? Because you fear that someone will come to take what is yours, because you are isolate. So if you live as a community, you won't need such security, because kama mna, like, you relate well with your neighbors. They are well off, you're well off, because of hakuna mambo individualism. I think it's a negative thing in the society.
Yeah, it is, sadly. But then that happens to be one of the reasons of this individualism being in place, you know. Yes.
Yeah. And I think, like, maybe another aspect or factor that maybe have contributed is the need of, you know, like, personal growth. Sometimes
I think it's you can also grow even in a
as
more
a community.
Yeah, you can grow even faster.
Like it's a little bit difficult.
It's not difficult. That's why I'm saying we have adopted a Western idea of success,
of growth,
of success, because the way Africans used to maybe like interpret success, it's different from the Western way. From the Western, you need to have like a lot of money, a lot of maybe properties and what. And that's just not the reality on the ground, because by the time you are doing that, maybe if you're not as a community, you'll be very isolated in the end.
Yeah, but to take an example, like right now, you know, once you're done with school, especially in the village, everyone is like, ukienda Nairobi, things will be better.
That's why nasema, like referring back to the first point in tulikuwa tunasema about everything evolving, whether you're from the Western culture or in this African culture. It's in as much as, yes, the Western has impacted us, if of course coming from the colonization part and all that, it in some way affects where we are as a society, as a community, ama pia individuals right now. Yeah, so because unaweza pata the way Uzala amesema, as a community it's better to grow like that, but me I'd like to look at it from both sides, from both angles. Like, yes, your community, like the Western affecting us, imeleta that aspect individualism sana paka tumesahau hiyo aspect ya community. But then if you look at it also from the community level, going as a community, you shouldn't forget that you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, you have to look out for yourself first.
You have to know how to grow yourself, know where you stand, your levels, your groundings in the society. And then from there, not from there, at the same time, grow yourself together with the community. I think that's where the Western now tuna differ.
No.
Because the Western interpretation of individualism is quite inflated and it's flawed. Because it's what kind of growth are you looking for? Is it financial growth, social growth, or those things? They should grow together. Because if you only look at the financial growth, utakuta like your relations, utavunja relations nini. So there needs to be a balance, and that's where Islam comes in. Because Islam, there are many communities in Kenya, we know, like Islamic community, they tend to be very close to each other, even if they are not Islamic communities, because of they have that communal aspect of it, like Salatul Juma, mnaenda mosque, there is hafla, kuna hizo wafat, kuna wilada, kuna nini, like kuna mahali tunakutana. So if you get those like activities, at least it will balance out. Maybe you like umetoka kazi wiki mzima, you're just trying to run to look for maybe this, to chase the money, they're chasing the bag. Then at least you can, in those aspects like Juma wapi mnakutana watu, at least una bridge your gap ya
now, Zal, speaking of creating this balance, are there instances where we feel like maybe this individualism is good for us, where like kuna time too you feel at the point
there
of life where I'm in right now, I need some individualism.
There's instances maybe you have a toxic in a toxic maybe community. Maybe it can help in a way, but still isolation is not the answer there. But in a toxic environment, maybe you can use it to your advantage. Maybe so individualism in such instances it can help you. When you need to
okay.
It can help you in such instances where you need to like find balance or try to when you have a toxic community or maybe toxic supportive. Workplace, maybe they're not supportive. Maybe in such instances it can help you, but you cannot use it full time. Like try to isolate yourself, it can't work.
It might also like sort of affect your mental health. Keep planning.
Individualism.
Yes.
Okay. I think when we say individualism, maybe people would tend to be more inclined with what Uzali just mentioned previously, like isolation. You know, you can be in isolation, but you're not ideally individualistic per se. Ama pia at the same time, you cannot be in an individual state, but tutakuwa umeji-isolate. Like you see the way a toxic workplace. You practicing you can practice individualism in a workplace and actually thrive. And at the same time, you can also do the isolation part. Because any toxic environment will directly affect your mental health, and also how you thrive in that work.
But generally, the point is the individualism that we are describing is toxic, like the one that we have adopted from other cultures, like from the Western culture. Nakuta ati mtu haezi bisha tu kwako na haja kuambia.
But Uzal, kuna some positivity out of this.
They are positive, but the same is not outweigh. Like if they outweigh the positive sides, then it's not something good.
Well,
because mwisho siku we need each other. Na pia individualism, I think it can breed some form of selfishness in the society, some form of unakuta mtu like I want to succeed but I don't want them to wasinipite. Like if we all succeed, shida iko wapi?
I think it's
iko na hiyo pia like inaleta some form of unhealthy competition. Because if we are competing and we are both successful, what's the problem? But if you are competing just to see that nimekudefeat wewe, then in that case itakuwa ni that's a toxic thing.
I think
it has both sides.
And it might not be.
You see the way we look at the internet. The internet can have a lot of cons and at the same time have the pros. It just depends on the way you use it and the way you perceive it in the first place. Yeah? Because individualism, when we are looking at the aspect of actually maybe thriving, becoming independent and all that, doing your own thing out there, and also the aspect of, there's a good example that he mentioned about neighborliness and all that, there's that sense of also privacy. Like for me right now, I'd appreciate someone who would call me and tell me, you know what, Khadija, I'd like to come to your place, this and this, and nijue venye nitajipanga, whether it's welcoming him or her or them, and knowing how to actually receive them. That's one. It's okay to drop by, maybe there's an emergency and something, I'd understand, but there's that sense of privacy. I know you respect this boundary and all that. Because I think it has both angles.
Well, both of these, individualism and communism, I think they're both important. It's just the instances or the situations that
balance,
change, and creating that balance. Now, dear viewer, we have looked at individualism and the positive aspects and the negative aspects. Now, we are going to take a short break, but when we come back, we look at how do we become more empathetic during this holy month of Ramadan, especially in the individualistic time that we're living in. See you after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakat. Welcome to the second segment of Iftar and Chill. Before we went on a break, we were discussing about individualism and communism and where do we create that balance. Now, in this second segment, I would like us to discuss on during this holy month of Ramadan, with this individualistic space that we're living in, where do we create that balance and how do we actually do it? And do we have like some Islamic values that we can try build during this holy month of Ramadan. I think maybe I can share this aspect of, during Ramadan we have these iftar programs, and recently I think we actually had like that iftar walk. So hapa utaona like kuna ule mtu mwenye ako na ile individualism and they have been successful in their own ways, but having a program like this iftar walk, trying to contribute money for the less fortunate, it's at least trying to bring that sense of communism to him and to also that Islamic community generally. Yeah.
So I can say, that's one of those initiatives which help to bridge that gap of like between the communities, mostly the less fortunate in the community, like the iftar walk. And there are other programs even in the community, like in the Nairobi Share Network. They also have their own programs during this month. So there are a lot of programs you can do. Also some programs maybe with the kids. Like last year, there was a program with the kids in the mosque, like just to help them, like to socialize, to give them like games and whatnot. So for the elders, maybe they have lectures, because there are different age groups and also the kids, they have their games and other recreational activities. From the teenagers and the elder age set, they also have like lectures which helps them maybe to refresh their aqidah, their ahkam and everything.
And which is a good thing, because like usually between Muharram and these other months we are very busy, but during Ramadan we make that sacrifice.
There's a slowdown also in maybe the pace and everything.
And we get to learn more about our deen. Yeah.
Because just like the way we say that there's that bridging of the gap, and then the Ramadan is now in place. With this individualism in place, we try and actually step away from that, in that the Islamic values actually tell us to just look beyond ourselves. Like, what
we
can
look
we
out
do?
for each other.
Yeah, we look out for each other. What else can we do for the community? Not just community. Let's start from the next person. What can I do for Zuhra? What can I do to help out Zuhra with whatever it is that she needs? Or just pick up the phone. Zuhra, assalamu alaikum, how are you? It's Ramadan again. I hope you're doing well. If not, we are praying for you that you feel or get better.
This is the time we expect so many messages from the people that we have actually
messages.
never spoken to, but they're like, hi Zuhra, happy Ramadan, may Allah accept your fast. And then unapata kuna ka forward hapo juu.
Yes.
Please, this month,
Make
remove
make it personal.
Just, what you do is copy paste that message, create a broadcast list on WhatsApp and share it. No one will know that it was a forwarded message. You can try that.
But then ideally, that's just one of the good things. I think by default, as Muslims, we think it's just like a starting basis. Unajua imekuwa a very practiced habit
For a long time, yeah.
For a long time, mpaka mtu anakuwa kwa sisi zile za aki, mimi please don't give me those forwarded messages. We had the whole year, mwaka mzima you've not reached out,
because
and
we're
right now
trying
we are
to connect
doing it.
Khadija.
Yeah, sasa sinasema people have forgotten the main reason for actually doing that. Yeah,
And
so
this happens to be a soft spot.
it happens to be a soft spot, because we are going out of our way to actually do something extra, not for ourselves but for this other next person.
Plus there are other activities that people can do, like visiting the orphanages and
The sick.
whatnot. The sick, maybe providing clothes for some less fortunate communities. Like there are many activities you can do, not just ibadah and stuff. You can just blend all of those, and they're all activities that help in breaching that gap of what was the word?
Individualism.
No, the other word.
Empathy.
Yeah, empathy.
To be more empathetic.
Yeah, those are some of the things you can do to show more empathy in the society. Yeah.
And you know what, like when we are fasting, we are told like there's so many reasons, but one of them is for us to at least get a feel of ule mtu mwenye hana food pale nje. How does it feel? Imagine wewe una fast ukijua jioni niko na iftar na niko sorted na itakuwa food fiti.
Yes.
But this person, they have not fasted and they don't know where they're going to get their extra meal. So I feel like this fasting as well inatusaidia sisi kukumbuka the less fortunate. We empathize with them. We imagine guy kama ingekuwa ni mtoto wangu saizi ana struggle, hana food, hana fee, what would I have done? Because hizi miezi zingine ni sisi tuna shughuli, we are chasing the bag, we are just looking out for ourselves, and which is very very okay. Labda utapata during holidays ndo mtu anang'ang'ana aende ushago, maybe anafanyia wazai wake shopping and maybe the community.
Yes.
Ukienda ushago utapata kuna hiyo sense of communism.
Yes.
But kuja hapa hivi Nairobi, even your next door neighbor who's not a Muslim, I'll not be surprised if some of us don't know the names of our neighbors, which is not a good thing.
It's true.
And maybe this holy month of Ramadan inaweza kuwa tu one step ya kumwambia hey jirani, habari yako, jina yako ni nani? We are doing iftar, do you mind joining us? Yeah, it's the effort that matters actually, because the lifestyle we're living in right now, and it's getting worse. It's sad.
Like decade by decade, or just even year by year.
Yeah, it's just like we are adapting cultures that we don't even know how they started. Maybe some are adapted due to maybe security factors, and some are adapted due to the collision of maybe different cultures. Like you see Islamic culture and non-Islamic culture, there's a difference because maybe because of the way they are brought up. Maybe they are not brought up very religious, and Muslims they tend to be very religious maybe. So maybe that blend of different cultures brings about a lot of individualism, and it strips away our empathy slowly by slowly.
Or the values that we are brought up with.
Yeah, because if you are not brought up to think about your neighbor, to think about your immediate family member, it strips away all your empathy.
But now, I mean, empathy is a very good value. You know, being concerned about your neighbors and all this. Do you really think maybe ascribing to a particular religion really maybe guides or directs you in which values to actually have, or is it like just a humane thing?
I think it's okay. Religion does play a role in that. It does. But I think the basis foundation of it is you as a person. The individualistic you.
Yeah.
Like you, what are your core values? Is empathy one of them? Or is it because the contributing factors around you, the lifestyle, the work you do, the people you've met have actually made you to actually take out that aspect of empathy in you? You see?
Yeah,
but
so
also religion does play a part.
You can be empathetic with people, but maybe the community is quite harsh. Like you said, maybe umeenda kwa jirani mgundua maybe si mtu hata anapenda kuongeleshwa. Yes, you see it will make you utasema hapana, let me just withdraw, staki nilete shida. Like sasa ukifanyiwa mara mbili tatu, it's only human for you to, for the next time utasema hapana, let me not do that, let me just mind my business. So you see in the end it may strip away your empathy.
Yes.
Like subconsciously may strip away your empathy. Maybe unaona mtu maybe anaingia magizani hataki kuona mtu maybe like they look very unapproachable. So I think ndio hivyo, like unakuta mix of different cultures ina affect indirectly without you knowing.
And by the way, Uzala has given a good example. It has made me remember there's also this, apart from empathy, kuna this aspect of you giving in you. Like the generosity part of you. I think every human being has been born with that aspect. Low-key we have it. But I think it tends to vary with people, especially
and experiences.
With the experiences that they've gotten. Yeah. For example, maybe mtu amekuwa every time you give out, or every time you try your best to actually go out of your way to do some charity work and all that, mtu anakucheza huko nje. You see, like maybe they steal from you, or they just give you disappointing
character development.
Yes. So unapata unasema tu next time
nikipata
hii pesa I'll keep it to myself. Ama ukipatana na mtu huko nje because nishaikoniwa before, mimi siendi tena kupatiana, ama siendi kusaidia mtu huko nje kwa njia, because you see word on the street is that these people actually have a lot of money than us, and maybe they're just some beggars who are actually out there, they don't literally have anything. Wow. So there's that sense of experience na your society nende kikuchange.
Yeah. Do you like the society you live in, do you, it can affect you a great deal. So in that sense, but still when you look at it as Muslims, I think it's just we should just stick to the teachings, stick to the values. We should not be like altered. Nakutanga it's easier for people to live in a community, like unashanga kwa nini watu wanaishi tu like in one area. It also plays a role. Like ukiishi tu like randomly, it's quite is a affect. Also the way we live, I think it plays a big role in how empathetic we are. Because unakuta kuna communities unakuta kama ni building kuanzia chini mpaka juu ni how. Kwa nini? It's because of some factors kama hiyo. Like I want to surround myself with people
more communal.
Mimi najua jirani kuanzia floor ya kwanza mpaka ya juu. Because we have common goals, we have common beliefs, common so I think in such setups maybe you'll thrive, but maybe that's my idea, but I think
if it's mixed up it becomes a bit difficult.
Because mwingine hapo umeamka asubuhi amekuwekea loudspeaker music huko, mwingine huko sijui anafanya nini, mwingine ametoka pale they are not wearing enough clothes. Like
na pia priority, because there's a person I know, they got a work transfer from one place to another. Now in this setup yenye alikuwa amegrow in and pia akapata pia job and all that, alikuwa amezoea mashallah every morning yo 5:35 you'd hear adhans from every corner. Like uki from this side of the house unasikia adhan mashallah, ukienda just some kilometers away utasikia adhan, like it's all over, like kutakuwa na hiyo hamu. Kusema unajua nini, it's fajr time, mimi there's no way hakuna kitu kitani put down, let me just wake up and pray. Now he went to this place, alafu keep in mind this community is surrounded with Muslims. So kitoka nje asalamu alaykum naendeleaje, kwa nini Ibrahim hajakuja leo mosque nini, you see all that. But then with this other different place, I'm relating to the example that results mentioned, when he went to this other place it was completely different. There's a time it even reached, because of the amount of work alikuwa anafanya kazini, he had to put up an alarm for him to actually wake up for what? For Fajr.
Because he went to a different setup.
And then he was used to, when he akitoka nje, whatever they have in hand or something, shika hii neto jetende fungua, I have some water, kutana na watu wametoka kucheza kwa field and all that.
That's so beautiful.
And then when he tried that there, people niwe nini unanipatia maji? I'm okay. Why are you sharing that with me? You see, like there's that aspect, it changes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now to carry on with the example, let's assume sasa ameishi mahali kama for like 10 years.
It will get
how do you think atakaje?
His mindset just
when he
shifts.
comes back to this society, he'll be like,
he'll meet a culture shock.
Or hata
like I used to do this.
Let's assume anaweza kuwa sawa. But let's assume we raise a family there.
Yeah, imagine like he had a family.
If you have a family waja experience your previous setup, your previous environment, wamejua tu hii, so how do you think they will be affected?
It will be very hard for him to
actually, they will never like relate, their empathy levels itakuwa chini, they will not have that communal aspect of their lives nini.
Instill values in such kids itakuwa very hard.
I don't know, I feel maybe not, because this is assuming I'm the father of that family. This is my family, and there are those values that I have experienced in another place, and they're good values compared to what I have now.
It takes a village to raise a kid. Like kuna wakati wewe mtoto wako ameenda kucheza huko, you're not with your kid, you're not, so vile relate na watoto wengine nini, like you're not there to control yours.
But so tunaweza kujaribu to some extent.
Yes, but then like there's a big plus, not even a small plus, there's a big plus if it's a whole community involved. Imagine your child having friends who go to the same madrasa with them. Wakitoka shule toka zile za mwalimu alisema tufanye hivi na hivi, tukirudi the next day homework umefika wapi, like there will be that trend with the
so
kids
the
it will be more easier.
The community helps. Alafu unakuta there's that aspect kwamba in town lives unakuta watoto wewe kama unaishi kwa that kind of environment, huwezi ruhusu mtoto wako aende mbali
because like, you don't know them.
Haizi ataenda, unaenda wapi?
Arudi na tabia mbaya.
Like unataka tu acheze hapo kwa compound tu, lakini if it's a large community hata unaweza toka nje kidogo, you can trust kwamba ako kwa kina fulani, ako within the area. hata if it's a 1 kilometer radius area. Like I think it helps the community. See, even you're even secure with your kid moving around kwa sababu unajua we have common goals, we have common behaviors, we have that empathetic behavior. Mtu akiona mtoto wake kufanya kitu mbaya, definitely they'll tell them to stop. You see, you trust them to tell your kid to not to do that. Unafanya nini? Wacha hiyo, wacha hii.
But in most communities will not get
but
to
some utaona mtoto wenyewe amefanya kitu mbaya, you just looking.
Yeah, wezi taka kumshika lapo.
Utaanzaje?
But if it's us, the other community, wewe hiyo tabia yako sijaipenda. Usiwachana na hiyo maneno. Like you see, it's easier. Yeah.
So I think this is a broad topic and it touches on different areas. Yeah,
but I mean, I'm just glad that there's a point we can actually start from. Hiyo tu familia yako moja, huyo tu mtoto wako moja, we can start from there. Yeah, and maybe later on, hata kama itachukua 20 years, but there's somewhere you planted a seed of being more empathetic and looking out for your own neighbors.
Giving where you can.
I think before we wrap it up, the tip I would just like to share, a practical one, is maybe if we can just try as individuals, maybe because of our workplaces and the way we were brought up and the environments we are presently in right now, it gives that vibe of me. I have to prioritize myself and all that. But for the sake of Ramadan, I'd like to also share, maybe we should also include kwa hiyo to-do list ya Ramadan or whatever goals we have for Ramadan. Let's just try and practice a non-me for the fasting. Like you kila kitu mimi kwanza, let's try and just break that kidogo. Tusimacha tuwekele hii kikando kidogo. Wacha this Ramadan nione kama nitajaribu pia reach out to someone, whether it's through sadaka, whether it's through kujuliana hali, okay, unaendeleaje, the last time I checked on you, even if ilikuwa inafanyika
and it should be authentic.
It should be authentic, yes.
And very intentional. Kwa sababu saa zingine mimi ni mtu ataweza kukosa kukujibu kwa sababu anajua the only time this person checks on me is when they need something from me.
Yes. I know it builds such sentiments kwa watu. Unaona mtu ukiona miskoli yake unasema anataka
huyu hakuna kitu kingine anataka ni pesa.
But if it is genuine, people will be even more willing to work with you, to build a community with you, to have like that strong relationship na wewe.
That's why nasema it starts with you. Like today, this is the first of Ramadan. I've not talked to Zura for a very long time, and if I reach out to Zura, I said I'm asking them for a favor. Oh Zura, can you share this contact? Can you help me out in this and this and this? It's not even necessarily about money. So this time maybe ni reach out to Zura niseme unajua Zura, unaendeleaje you as a person? Uko poa? Ramadhani iko hapa. Uko vipi? I hope everything is okay on your side. Nilikuwa tunataka tu kukusalimia basi. Ishare hapo. Kama kusaidiana, maybe you're not a helping person. Try. Go look up to the different social media pages. Which
there's
pages?
So
there are so many
events.
There's so many organizations that are actually out there. Their pay bills numbers are there. Even our groups in the community, they are there. Try and contribute something for the community other than yourself.
And it doesn't have to be just money alone.
Kuna
zile nguo zenye ni nzuri. Patiana. Kuna time yako pia. Patiana. Your expertise patiana.
Yes.
There's so much that we can actually do. So this Ramadan, let us challenge ourselves to be more empathetic. Jaribu kuimagine ule mtu mwenye ana feel aje, and what can you do to help them? Yeah. This is what we are going to do. We don't know about. You challenge yourself as well to do this.
Yeah, it has been a very educative session.
Yeah, I think honestly I've learned so much from this. And dear viewer, we hope that you also picked something from this. That is it from us. Keep it iftar and chill. Masalam.